what is really the world's cheapest decent electric car. And not only is this really the best cheap electric car in the world you can buy, but it has the first lifetime warranty.
I went a different way. You see, Mobius is real. It does produce cars, but it's not EVs, and it's not under $5,000. But I know about other car manufacturers that do both, not in Africa, but in China. So I went with their story, which is 100% factual too. Note, also, let's make it $5,000 instead of $4,000 because that is more realistic. If you were to take a random poll, what do you think the average American would say about owning an EV? Well, the people who'd consider buying one for the environment will surely point out that the initial cost of getting one is simply outrageous. Well, someone finally heard them, but not in the United States. You see, this $5,000 EV beats Tesla in quality tests, but you won't see it in the United States. Here's why. The reason isn't about technology or demand, it's regulation, safety codes, and geopolitics. As Tesla grapples with declining stock value, trade restrictions, and shrinking market share in China, these micro-EVs are surging forward in popularity, redefining what consumers expect from an electric car. Could this spell the end of Tesla? Well, let's find out. Chinese $5,000 electric microcars. The Wuling Hongguang Mini EV, launched by SAIC GM Wuling, or SGMW, in July 2020, ushered in a new era of ultra-affordable electrified transport in China. This no-frills compact EV has been purchased by over 1.1 million drivers and counting, making it one of the best-selling electric vehicles in China. Initially offered only as a two-door city hatchback, SGMW introduced its four-door variant in December 2024, quickly attracting more than 20,000 pre-orders ahead of its official launch. Priced between 28,800 and 38,800 yuan, or approximately $4,250 to $5,860, the Mini EV competes as an entry-level commuter vehicle rather than a luxury EV. It is powered by a rear-mounted electric motor rated at roughly 20 kilowatts or 27 horsepower, propelling the car to a top speed near 62 miles per hour or 100 kilometers per hour. Buyers may choose between 9.2 and 13.8 kilowatt-hour battery packs, offering CLTC or NEDC rated ranges from 75 to 106 miles or 120 to 170 kilometers. This may not sound impressive, but that's the point. It's not impressive, it's not meant to be. It's meant to address consumer needs rather than wants. The idea is to allow anyone to afford an EV they can use for their daily commute. Nothing more, nothing less. And it has struck a chord. Back in September 2021, the Mini EV set a daily sales record when 1-800 units were sold in a single day. This is the same as selling a vehicle every 20 seconds. In January 2021 alone, its monthly volume was 25.8 units, doubling the sales of the Tesla Model 3 at the time. By mid-2022, SGMW reported that the model had sold nearly 1.3 million units cumulatively, making it the highest-selling micro-EV globally. In 2023 alone, the Mini EV maintained its lead, recording 237,019 global sales, and again dominating the Mini EV segment. SGMW is a joint venture between Shanghai Automotive Industry Corporation, or SAIC, which holds 50.1% of the shares, General Motors, which holds around 44% of the shares, and Guangxi Auto Wuling, which holds around 5.9% of the shares. SGMW began Mini EV production under the Global Small Electric Vehicle, or GSEV platform, which not only underpins the Hongguang Mini EV, but also newer SGMW models like the Kiwai EV and Air EV. The four-door second-generation Mini EV, unveiled in December 2024, added improved practicality. At 3.26 meters long, it features a 123-liter trunk expandable to 745 liters and offers 205 kilometers CLTC range from a 16.2 kilowatt-hour battery. It also supports DC fast charging, replenishing from 30 to 80% in around 35 minutes, with 70,000 new public chargers added monthly across China by late 2024. Despite its modest price and size, the Mini EV incorporates basic safety and convenience features. Contemporary versions include ABS, tire pressure monitoring, rear parking sensors, and, optionally, one driver airbag. This is a first for the macaron-style trims. But that's not all. J.D. Power's latest PP100 reliability study rated it better than the micro-car average, with a rating of 168 defects versus 190 per 100 vehicles. Wired magazine reviewed the upscale Macaron edition in May 2022, noting that its pastel color trims add charm to what is otherwise a pragmatic city car. Moreover, the simple one-pedal regenerative braking function offers a quirky but pragmatic city drive, but it does lack Western-style crash protection and executive comfort features. Cost efficiency is its core appeal. Parts for the EV are largely consumer-grade, not auto-grade, making repairs cheap and feasible. While this micro-EV revolution has reshaped Chinese urban EV demand, regulation prohibits its entry into the United States. US law requires compliance with FMVSS safety standards, including frontal crash protection, side airbags, ESC, bumper strength, and lighting regulations that these vehicle designs do not meet. In 2021, US importers who brought in Macaron editions acknowledged that no $5,000 Chinese EV is homologated for American roads, and enthusiasts in states like Texas had to import them privately without US safety legal clearance. By early 2025, SGMW continued its lead in the cheap EV space. The Mini EV family, including both door variants, recorded over 1.4 million in cumulative sales. In November 2024, sales of 3,394 units demonstrated a strong monthly performance. The model's low weight of around 665 to 705 kilograms and efficient consumption, measuring around 8.9 kilowatt-hours per 100 kilometers, contributed to urban affordability, equating to traveling at 5 cents per kilometer in key markets. Today, micro-EV competition in China is intensifying. Rivals include Geely-backed Jidu Rainbow and Chery's QQ ice cream. These similarly priced A-class vehicles emphasize function over speed. From a global audience perspective, the Hongguang Mini EV's evolution, now with 4 doors, fast charging and improved utility, qualifies it as a domestic urban game-changer, but US safety and regulatory frameworks remain insurmountable for these vehicles. Meanwhile, SAIC's Global 3.0 strategy, announced at the 2025 Shanghai Auto Show, signals the company's ambition to extend its micro-EV model globally, but always adapted to each market's safety and legal thresholds. Speaking of safety, do these cars measure up? Safety profile. The Wuling Hongguang Mini EV debuted in July 2020 as a minimalist city car built by SAIC GM Wuling. Its first generation was simple but practical, including essentials like anti-lock brakes or ABS, tire pressure monitoring, and rear parking sensors, yet omitted driver airbags entirely. This combination reflected SAIC GM Wuling's aim to offer low-cost electric mobility while meeting basic safety expectations. In April 2021, SGMW introduced the Mini EV Macaron, a cosmetically evolved edition with pastel color schemes. Crucially, this variant marked the first inclusion of a driver-side airbag, thereby enhancing occupant protection at high speeds. The Macaron also featured other upgrades, including electronic brake force distribution or EBD, and a low-speed pedestrian warning system, alongside safety staples like ABS, tire pressure monitors, rear cameras, and parking sonar. While impressive for a car under $6,000, the Mini EV's crash resilience remains limited. In December 2021, Inside EVs reported on a crash test comparing the Mini EV to a low-speed neighborhood EV. Both cars collided head-on at about 64 kilometers per hour or 40 miles per hour with a 50% overlap. The miniature Wuling retained structural integrity while the micro-EV collapsed completely, offering some protection for dummy occupants despite the absence of airbags. This test suggested that although the Mini EV's basic crumple zone design could offer life-saving structural resistance, real-world impacts with larger vehicles, like SUVs or sedans, could result in far more severe outcomes. The test also left the driver with injuries to the head and legs, with occupants potentially unable to exit the vehicle without assistance. Official crash testing by Chinese authorities reinforced a middling safety profile. In April 2025, the Mini EV passed 44 standard crash assessments, with its high-strength cage, about 57% high-strength steel, protecting the passenger cell. Regulators graded it as exceptional in common collisions, citing intact battery casings, seatbelt performance and chassis resilience. Despite this, Wuling's microcar cannot match the comprehensive protection offered by larger, regulation-compliant vehicles. A crash test published by Tasmanian included commentary that a head-on collision at moderate speed could be unsurvivable for Mini EV occupants, even with a stronger chassis. The discrepancy between structural toughness and human safety remains a concern. Beyond crash resilience, JD Power assessments provide insight into the Mini EV's mechanical and electronic reliability. The 2023 US Vehicle Dependability Study, or VDS, placed the Mini EV, rebadged for US subscribers, in the 167 to 168 problems per 100 vehicles, also known as the PP100 range, which is still better than the segment average of 190 PP100 across small EVs. Specifically, GM Authority noted the Mini ranked second in quality, behind the Leap Motor T-Year 3 in the small EV category. Building on that, the 2024 China NEV Initial Quality Study, released in June 2025, confirmed that small EVs averaged 226 PP100 shortly after delivery. This study did not break out Mini EV specifics. Still, its low defect counts in JD Power's US calculations reflect a fundamental reliability. On the flip side, even reliable micro-EVs carry safety compromises. Inside EVs caution that despite the Mini EV's dependable design, it lacks side impact protection, full-size frontal airbags, seatbelt pre-tensioners, electronic stability control, or collision avoidance systems. These omissions make the vehicle inherently unsuitable for regulatory approval and highway speeds in developed markets. Consumer sentiment mirrors this dichotomy. Users praise the Mini EV for its ease of maintenance and affordably sourced replacement parts. These traits translate to cheaper repairs and greater access to service across Tier 2 Chinese cities, and by extension, a lower total cost of ownership. Reliable in mechanics but underprotected in impact, the Mini EV walks the line between pragmatic urban mobility and regulatory ineligibility in mature markets. However, one can say more or less the same about bikes and motorcycles. While safety features need improvement, the idea of an affordable Mini EV holds. We can say that confidently because the Wuling Hongguang Mini EV is not one of a kind. Other micro-EVs in the segment. In April 2024, after emerging from bankruptcy, Jidu Auto, backed by Geely and Aimer Technology, launched the Rainbow Micro-EV, marking its first new model since 2018. As a three-door hatchback, it is manufactured at Jidu's Nanjing plant and strikes a distinct pose in the crowded Chinese city car market with bright styling and minimalist design. The base model starts at 31,900 yuan, or around $4,400, and features a 20 kilowatts or 27 horsepower motor paired with a 9.98 kilowatt-hour battery, delivering 78 to 127 miles, or 125 to 205 kilometers of CLTC-rated range. A premium variant boosts output to a 30 kilowatt or 40 horsepower motor with a 17 kilowatt-hour battery, priced around 39,900 yuan or $5,500. Despite these austere specifications, 20 kilowatts equates to only 27 horsepower and top speeds around 100 kilometers per hour, Zidu emphasizes urban practicality. The Rainbow measures 34 millimeters long, 1,515 millimeters wide, and 1,030 millimeters tall, larger in footprint than Japan's K cars, but smaller than most Western compacts. It includes a 5-inch digital display, a 9-inch infotainment touchscreen, and smartphone connectivity with over-the-air updates, which are rare at this price point. Next up, Chery's QQ ice cream debuted at the Chengdu Auto Show in August 2021 and officially launched on December 28, 2021, priced at 29,900 yuan or around $4,700. This 3-door, 4-seat EV is marketed toward younger and female buyers and features Chery's iCar ecosystem via partnerships with Alibaba Cloud and Haier. Initial models came in pudding, cone, and sundae variants, featuring 120 kilometers and 170 kilometers NEDC ranges from 9.4 kWh or 13.6 kWh LFP batteries, both paired with a 20 kilowatt or 27 horsepower motor and top speed of 100 kilometers per hour. In February 2023, Chery expanded the lineup to include 120 kilometer, 170 kilometer, and 205 kilometer options, now spanning 29,900 to 52,900 yuan or 4,100 to $7,150. The top-tier Sunday trim features a 30 kilowatt motor, 17.4 kilowatt-hour battery, and DC fast charging ability that can replenish from 30 to 80% in around 1.2 hours. Weighing around 778 kilograms with dimensions of 3 meters length, 1.5 meters width, and 1.6 meters height, the QQ ice cream is lightweight and efficient. Consumption hovers at 8.8 kilowatt-hours per 100 kilometers, with a manufacturer-claimed CLTC range of 205 kilometers on the large battery. In March 2025, QQ ice cream posted monthly sales of 3,070 units, reflecting a modest gain over prior months, while maintaining low-end pricing from 25,900 yuan or $3,590. These models are assembled in Wuhu, Anhui province, and deployed in markets such as the Philippines under the Jetour ice cream badge in 2023. Moving on, we have Dongfeng's Fenggon Mini EV, produced since 2022 by DFSK Motor in Chongqing and Serang, Indonesia. Powered by permanent magnet synchronous motors offering 25 to 30 kilowatts or around 34 to 40 horsepower and LFP battery options of 9.18, 13.8 or 16.8 kilowatt hours. The vehicle delivers 120 kilometers, 180 kilometers or 220 kilometers of NEDC range. Top speeds reach 100 kilometers per hour with a torque of 100 Newton meters across variants. It was launched in January 2022 in China and later rebadged in Indonesia as the Ceres E1 at the 2023 Gaikindo Indonesia International Auto Show, as well as in the Philippines in September 2024. Initial Chinese sales were 12,163 units in 2022, dropping to 1,083 in 2023, and 701 by the end of 2024. But wait, we're not done with super affordable mini EVs just yet. The Bao Yuanbao targets the same consumer segment. Initially introduced in September 2021, it carries a 20 kilowatt motor and 9.6 to 13.6 kilowatt-hour LFP batteries, providing a similar range profile. Compact yet practical, with a 162mm length and classic 3-door configuration, it competes directly with mini EV market leaders like Wuling and Chery. Across this micro-EV cohort, Jidu Rainbow, Chery QQ Ice Cream, Dongfeng Fenggon Mini, and BEW Yuanbao, pricing consistently falls between $4,000 and $6,000. Despite modest power and speeds, These vehicles offer CLTC ranges from 120 to 220 kilometers, low curb weights, and simple rear motor, rear-wheel drive mechanical packages. Their value propositions cater to dense urban environments and emerging market mobility. Consumer and media reception demonstrates this shift. The Jidu Rainbow is championed by Wired as a cheaper than an e-bike option. Enthusiasm for the QQ ice cream was evident at launch as a Reddit post recorded 15,000 pre-orders within 24 hours. However, these micro-EVs share clear limitations. Their tiny stature and lightweight construction make them vulnerable in high-speed collisions with larger vehicles. Critical safety features, such as airbags, ESC, ABS, and crumple zones, are often optional or absent, making each a city-only solution for short hops. While fast charging and interior tech improve usability, they remain ill-suited to US or European crash test standards, which bar their import without extensive redesign. Despite these constraints, the explosive sales and public acceptance of micro-EVs in China have captured international attention. Notably, the Wuling Mini EV, though not the focus here, continues to lead sales charts, topping all Chinese EVs and even outperforming the Tesla Model Y that month. It is clear that there is a market for these mini EVs, but you won't see them in the United States. Why they can't be imported into the US. The primary barrier preventing Chinese micro-EV imports into the US lies in non-compliance with the Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standards, or FMVSS, which define mandatory requirements, covering crashworthiness, structural integrity, electronic safety systems, lighting, braking, and bumper standards that all vehicles sold or operated in the US must meet. Micro-EVs like the Wuling Hongguang Mini EV and its Macaron variant were designed for China's less stringent microcar regulations. They typically lack frontal and side airbags, electronic stability control, reinforced crumple zones, side impact beams, and in some cases, standard bumper or lighting configurations required by FMVSS. In 1988, Congress passed a law that effectively banned parallel importation of new foreign vehicles unless they undergo the full NHTSA certification process, involving crash testing, emissions validation, and FMVSS compliance verification. This legislation was a response to increasing foreign auto competition in the 1980s and remains the primary legal barrier. Only 25-year-old or older vehicles are exempt via the classic car exception. Modern micro-EVs manufactured after 2000 cannot utilize this loophole. The rule makes it impossible to import a new or used Chinese vehicle unless built before the year 2000. Some enthusiasts have attempted alternate paths under the NEV low-speed vehicle designation. US Class LSVs can legally operate on roads with speed limits up to 35 miles per hour if they have a top speed of no more than 25 miles per hour when produced, weigh less than 3,000 pounds, and are fitted with minimal safety equipment such as seatbelts, lights, mirrors, and reflectors. John Carlin, an Oklahoma nurse, imported a Wuling Macaron under this framework in 2021. After legal filings and customs clearance, he registered it in Oklahoma, though with highway usage prohibited. Even so, this rare success remains legally precarious, expensive, and intelligence-gathering in nature rather than a scalable market entry. Import hurdles have escalated beyond FMVSS. In March 2024, the Biden administration introduced 100% tariffs on Chinese-made EVs, in addition to pre-existing 25% duties. These punitive tariffs effectively double the landed costs of micro-EVs. Moreover, in early 2025, the federal government imposed a blanket ban on Chinese connected vehicles, targeting hardware or software sourced from China that could pose security risks. Most modern Chinese EVs include connected services, such as cellular-based infotainment, telematics, and over-the-air updates, placing them squarely in the prohibited category. Hypothetically, homologating Chinese micro-EVs like the Wuling Hongguang Mini EV for the US market would entail a costly and complex compliance process Under the Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standards, manufacturers would first need to submit the vehicles for full crash testing to satisfy multiple regulatory benchmarks, including occupant crash protection, side impact protection, roof crush resistance, and fuel system integrity, even for EVs, where battery enclosures are scrutinized for impact resilience. Structural redesigns would be required to meet bumper height regulations, reinforce the chassis for side impact absorption, and support roof load standards. Additionally, manufacturers would need to install a full suite of mandatory features like multiple airbags, electronic stability control or ESC, tire pressure monitoring systems, hazard flashers, and compliant lighting systems. Even the placement and functionality of pedals, seatbelt pre-tensioners, windshield wipers, speedometers, and defrosters must meet FMVSS rules. Beyond physical modifications, manufacturers must also pay federal certification fees and navigate significant engineering and administrative overhead to secure approval. Given these constraints, the lone individual importer mentioned earlier, John Carlin, spent nearly $13,000 total just to field one Wuling Macaron, which was actually priced at $8,000, with time-consuming paperwork and speed-limited operation. Besides, NEVs and LSVs are not street legal on highways or roads over 35 miles per hour, limiting practical usage to neighborhood streets or work campuses. Attempted highway entry risks, legal violation, collisions, and liability. Politically and economically, US import barriers reflect an intent to safeguard domestic automakers. The 1988 import law, tariffs, and connected vehicle bans effectively exclude Chinese competition, especially ultra-affordable models like the Wuling Hongguang Mini EV, priced under $5,000. So, is Tesla, the premier US EV maker, safe? Well, not exactly. Tesla's current troubles. While these mini EVs can't operate in the United States, they do reflect part of a larger problem plaguing Tesla and threatening to undo the brand altogether, and that is affordability in EVs, an area where Tesla lags seriously behind. But Tesla's problems don't end here. The brand has been facing significant headwinds, weighing heavily on investor confidence and international sales performance. Tesla's stock price has slid approximately 30 to 45% from its late 2024 high, settling between $250 and $326. This represents the fourth time in company history that Tesla's shares have tumbled by at least 50% from a peak, a stark reminder of the cyclical volatility plaguing even the most dominant EV brand. Several unfolding dynamics have contributed to this downward pressure. Notably, Tesla is contending with escalating US-China trade tensions that affect both exports and supply chains. In April 2025, China stopped accepting new orders for imported Model S and X vehicles produced at Tesla's Fremont factory, accounting for just over 1,800 units in 2024, in response to steep US tariffs, reaching 145%, and reciprocal Chinese duties of up to 125%. Although these models make up a small portion of overall sales, they carry higher profit margins and serve as prestige flagships for the brand. Meanwhile, Tesla's planned import suspension of Chinese-sourced components for its upcoming Cybercab and semi-trucks highlights additional trade friction fallout. The move was triggered by tariff increases on parts from China, leaving Tesla's production and R&D schedule in limbo, while supply chains are reconfigured. The trade issues are compounded by slumping EV demand across key global markets. In Europe, Tesla's monthly sales declined by nearly 50% year-over-year in January 2025, and the UK saw a 62% drop in April, reaching just 536 units sold. In China, new Tesla registrations were down 8% year-to-date in early June, with a 30% drop in May compared to the previous year. These declines are attributed to both intensifying competition from Chinese manufacturers like BYD and broader global economic pressures. Internally, Tesla's performance metrics have eroded sharply. In the first quarter of 2025, deliveries totaled 336,681 vehicles, marking a 13% drop year over year. For the full year 2024, automotive revenue declined by 6% to $77 billion. Net profits fell by 71% to $2.3 billion, and free cash flow dipped 18% to $3.6 billion. Market sentiment has reflected this drop. Investment strategist Ross Gerber noted in March 2025 that Tesla's share price had plummeted 48% since mid-December, predicting further weakness amid Musk's distractions and Tesla's global slowdowns. While insiders like board member Ira Ehrenpreis and Musk's brother Kimball have offloaded shares worth over $190 million combined in the first quarter of 2025, sending alarm signals to analysts, others, like Cathie Wood's ARK Invest, have trimmed Tesla holdings in response to weakening fundamental trends. Complicating the outlook, Tesla's anticipated robotaxi launch in Austin, Texas, scheduled for June 22, 2025, is being closely scrutinized. Muted fleet deployment and uncertain usage metrics could crystallize investor doubts. While the trade war and tariff abuse have been factors, Musk hasn't helped himself a lot. You see, Tesla's initial customer base was heavily concentrated in affluent, progressive regions, particularly blue states like California, Massachusetts, New York, and Washington, attracting buyers who were both environmentally conscious and politically liberal. A 2023 Pew Research survey found that just 17% of Republicans were open to purchasing an EV, in contrast to 83% of Democrats, reflecting Tesla's strong appeal among liberal consumers. That dynamic began shifting in 2024 when Elon Musk made a major monetary contribution to former President Trump's re-election campaign. Following a Republican victory, Musk briefly led a newly created Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, in the new Trump administration for 130 days. During that time, he initiated sweeping actions, such as offering buyouts or dismissals to hundreds of thousands of federal employees, halting diversity and inclusion programs, canceling federal leases, and dismantling agencies like USAID and parts of the Postal Service. He also gained access to secure Treasury systems to locate inefficiencies and mandated a weekly 5 accomplishments email, with failure to comply deemed resignation. Musk didn't stop there. He also openly endorsed Germany's far-right AfD party, strengthening Tesla's association with nationalist and partisan politics. You know how they say, never mix business and politics? Well, Musk learned that the hard way. The fallout was swift and severe. A March 2025 AP NORC poll showed 60% of Americans viewed Tesla unfavorably, with Democratic sentiment turning particularly sour. According to YouGov's brand index, Tesla's purchase consideration among Democrats plunged from 23% in 2023 to just 13% by early 2025. The so-called Tesla takedown movement erupted in February 2025, orchestrating protests, boycotts, and sit-ins at Tesla showrooms around the world. Notable figures including Alex Winter, Joan Donovan, John Cusack, and Senator Chuck Schumer participated, and more than 250 locations experienced demonstrations or vandalism, with some protesters employing swastika stickers. In France, a group of 10 Tesla lessees filed lawsuits claiming they and their vehicles had become targets of harassment and far-right totems. These public outcries translated into tangible business impact. Tesla's share of the US EV market dropped below 50% in 2024 as competitors like Toyota and Ford made inroads. In Europe, Tesla registrations plummeted by 6% in Germany and 26% in France in February 2025, even as the overall EV market expanded by 45%. Australia saw a dramatic 72% year-over-year sales decline in the same period. Interbrand's 2025 rankings also reflected this decline, listing Tesla as the 95th most visible American brand, down from 8th in 2021. While support from some conservative buyers did emerge, it was insufficient to counteract the loss of its core liberal, affluent customer base. In February 2025, Musk candidly admitted on Tucker Carlson's show, "I used to be adored by the left. Less so these days." NYU's Scott Galloway branded the situation one of the greatest brand destructions of all time. Sparked by Musk's overt alignment with far-right politics, the Tesla takedown campaign gained rapid traction among progressive activists, celebrities, and labor groups. It officially launched in February 2025, organizing protests, boycotts, and sit-ins at Tesla showrooms across over 250 global locations. Some Tesla stores were defaced with anti-fascist graffiti or stickers of swastikas to highlight perceived ideological shifts in the brand's image. Lawsuits followed in France, where a group of liSSEs claimed their Tesla vehicles had become symbols of far-right politics, triggering harassment. The movement's primary goal was to damage Tesla's market standing and Musk's influence by directly discouraging purchases and drawing media attention to the company's political entanglements. The coordinated campaign coincided with a sharp drop in consumer favorability and sales across major markets. As if all of this wasn't enough, Elon Musk's relationship with President Trump took a dramatic turn amid controversy over the One Big Beautiful Bill. In early June 2025, Musk publicly denounced the sweeping legislation as a disgusting abomination and a perilous expansion of the national deficit, asserting it undermined the mission of Doge. In response, Trump retaliated sharply on Truth Social, very serious consequences, including the potential cancellation of contracts with Tesla, SpaceX, and xAI. The feud escalated when Musk accused Trump, without evidence, of being mentioned in the Jeffrey Epstein files, prompting Trump to threaten retaliation. While the two have now made their peace, the damage to Tesla has already been done. Even though micro-EVs like the Wuling Mini EV or Cherry QQ ice cream may never meet US or EU regulatory standards, in China, they've steadily siphoned off urban buyers with their affordability and convenience, particularly among women, students, and first-time car owners. Meanwhile, more robust Chinese EV makers like BYD, NIO, and XPeng have been aggressively expanding into Southeast Asia, the Middle East, and parts of Europe, capturing share with competitive pricing, better specs, and faster innovation cycles, tightening the squeeze on Tesla's international dominance. Unless Tesla stabilizes its global supply chains, restores delivery momentum, and detaches from political noise, it may lose the future altogether. Well, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Did you like this video? If you did, please consider liking, dropping a comment, and hitting the subscribe button so that you don't miss out on our new uploads. Also, don't miss this video you see on your screen right now. It's truly unbelievable.